In the moment I lunged out, the armor rushing towards him at breakneck speed, reaching out to punch with a single overhand right, aimed straight for his head in the last moment before the punch hit, stopping, a gust of wind pouring off the punch, but making no impact, as I was surprised. Why didn't he move? Figured it out, did ya? What? I'm basically invincible in this armor. You know it as well as I do. Hitting me, especially with the amount of force that you can hit with, is only gonna work against you. You know it. That's why you stopped your punch. Sure enough, I have to evade that liquid stuff. But I don't have to evade your actual punches. It's pointless. All you're doing is powering me up, he exclaimed, as suddenly an outlashing of fists, like Gatling gun fire, started to reel into the armor, one after another. The sound of the crystalline knuckles pounding against the liquid steel armor rang out, filling the canal, the sounds bouncing off of the walls as he laid into me with what seemed like an endless barrage of fists, before disappearing in a flash of speed, streaking in from the right, with an overhand right of his own clattering into the helmet, this one much harder than the jabs before, sending me tumbling end over end as I clattered across the hard ground, sliding a bit into the central canal filled with a little bit of water, as I tried to shake off the beating he just gave me. Luckily, as quick as those punches were, they didn't pack enough force to really damage me through the armor. But I definitely felt that last one. No doubt he put his whole body weight behind it. And all that body weight at a full run for him, that's a lot of force. Keven, I think I have a plan. Oh, really? That would be good, 'cause I'm kinda getting my ass kicked here. Well, not for long. I think I have a way to catch him. Or at least I hope it'll function. Okay, that's him. What about his friend? It should work for him as well. But he'll have to be the second move, Nylea said, as she began to lay the plan on me. All right. That actually sounds like it could work, I replied once Nylea had finished. It's definitely a little wild. Are you starting to pick up on my personality? For some reason I feel like you weren't this crazy when we first met. I'm beginning to wonder that myself, Keven, she said, as I could feel a sense of both unity and joy. I had begun to notice that I could somewhat feel Nylea's emotions when she was speaking to me, sort of like an extra sense. I could actually feel her happiness or excitement in the moment, like background noise to my own emotions. Okay. Action time, I said as I focused, beginning to once again swirl the liquid steel around me, but this time spreading it out, turning it into hundreds upon hundreds of tiny steel orbs floating around me. Okay, let's try this again, speed freak, I said as I began to rush towards him, all of the countless steel balls in the air following suit, like I simply had a field of steel spheres orbiting me as I closed in. What, you think those things are gonna protect you? He said as he disappeared in another flash of speed, and I began looking around for him. Come on, show me what you got, I said as I began looking around. Where are you? You're here somewhere, I said as I caught a small glimpse, a rush of movement, streaking towards the outer edge of the spheres that orbited me. Ha! You think these little things are actually gonna stop me? Let me guess, it's a minefield. You think you can track my movements as I pass through it, right? He said, quickly darting from place to place, reappearing long enough to say a small segment of his statement, before disappearing in another flash of speed. Well, you're wrong, moron. Make as many of those things as you want. As fast as I move, I can pass right through them. You still won't be able to track my movements. as in a burst of speed, he appeared inside the circle of spheres, hitting me hard in the midsection, just like I wanted him to. As with a thought, I focused, sending the orbs around into a spin, a rapid orbiting rotation around my central location, hundreds upon hundreds of them flying at breakneck speed, whirling around me, beginning to spin the air itself as they passed through it, a whirl of wind beginning to circle the location, as suddenly his voice rang out again. "What the hell?" he exclaimed as I looked to the origin of his voice to see a smattering of steel covering his body as more of the orbs began impacting him in their liquid state. As they impacted, hardening into their solid state, beginning to cover his body, large portions of him now covered in liquid steel. Looks like it worked. I may not be able to be fast enough to keep up with you, but I don't have to if I can catch you. Though it's probably pretty hard for you to tell the difference. All of these orbs rotating around me are still in liquid state, and my power is pretty unique and adaptable. Unlike yours, which never changes, mine can actually be filled with a great many things. They can change their state, liquid, solid, semi-solid, each one having their own characteristics, I said as I began to approach him, the steel now moving across his body, beginning to cover more of him, locking him down in place, chains whipping out from the segments that were attached, binding him to the ground. In fact, I just learned a new feature. Did you know that, like all substances controlled by telekinetic wavelength, that are bio-keyed to the person who created them, it responds to my thoughts and wavelengths and intentions. That's how it moves around. But did you know that you can actually pre-designate an intent? What? What the hell are you talking about? He said as he struggled trying to get free. Yeah, I'll explain. It's pretty simple, really. You see, I can give them an intention that they don't follow through with until a certain set of events comes into motion. In other words, I can force them into a liquid state and give them an intention. Let's say, for instance, that they become solid state after impacting something. And by feeding them this intention, this preset order, they'll fulfill it, even without me having any awareness of it. Believe it or not, the speed at which the liquid steel is able to change its shape, go from solid to liquid and back again, is much faster than I'm actually able to perceive or keep up with. Honestly, my thoughts go slower than its actions, but by imposing an order, a preset order on it, it responds at its maximum speed. So, when I preset the order for all of these liquid steel spheres in their liquid state to harden the moment they hit something that was moving fast, they simply fulfilled the order without me having to have any awareness of it. It didn't matter whether I could track you or not. I could still hit you, because physically you haven't gone anywhere. Because they were in their liquid state, they didn't generate any force on impacting you, so no power boost. And because they hardened into their solid state, right after hitting you, they effectively bound you down. And it looks like you're screwed. You're not going anywhere. That armor of yours be damned, I said as I began to rush in his direction, before suddenly a streak of red impacted me from the side, and then another from the other side. They began beating me back, pushing me away from him, as I saw those red floating spheres moving rapidly through the air around me, pummeling into my armor. Yeah, who can forget? I'm not just fighting one opponent, I thought, as I looked over and saw the other guy, keeping a careful eye on me, controlling those red spheres, telekinetically pounding them into me. They were his long-range weapons, and he was defending his partner. And now look what you did, you moron. Got yourself caught. Just shut up and get me out of this crap! The speed freak exclaimed angrily, as one of the red orbs quickly broke away from attacking me, flying back towards his ally, most likely on a trajectory to break him free.